Imagine this, a player who quietly anchored a championship team, yet he remains as an afterthought in NBA debates. Now imagine another with MVP trophies and all-around hype, and has no ring to show for it. But what if we noticed the underrated and demoted the overrated? Then what would really happen? Well, today we're gonna talk about that, so stick around to the end to find out. And first on our list, after over 100 underrated people that I did research for, I thought of Chauncey Billups. Every discussion of great 2000 point guards seemed to skip over Chauncey Billups, and it's a crime. He wasn't the flashiest or the fastest, but he made a career of coming up clutch when it mattered. He led the underdog 2004 Detroit Pistons to an NBA Finals title, earning Finals MVP and outdueling a Lakers squad loaded with Hall of Famers. From 2003 to 2009, he made 7 straight conference finals, joining the likes of Magic Johnson and Kareem on that exclusive list. He was a 5-time All-Star and 3-time All-NBA selection. Chauncey Billups was the steady hand orchestrating Detroit's balanced attack and later elevating Denver Nuggets. Yet, how often do we mention Billups in conversations about top point guards of the era? He didn't have the highlight reel handles of an Iverson or the jaw-dropping passes of a Steve Nash, so casual fans overlooked him. But his real teammates and coaches knew his value. He was the guy who outsmarted opponents, hit daggers in crunch time, and never shied away from guarding the other team's best guard. That's what a real humble man looks like. But someone who we all know that is not that humble is Allen Iverson. With his flashy clothes and jewelry, Allen Iverson was the epitome of the 2000s swag. The clutch shots, the killer crossover, the scoring titles. He was an MVP in 2001. He was nicknamed the Answer. He carried the 76ers to the finals that year and left everything on the floor. So how on earth is he on an overrated list? Don't get us wrong. Iverson was a phenomenal scorer and a cultural icon who inspired a generation. But in the cold light of basketball logic, even some of his fans admit there were cracks in the legend. Iverson was very inefficient. Iverson's scoring came with inefficiency, a career 42.5% shooting clip. Iverson is a beast and definitely one of the best ball handlers of all time. He even crossed up Michael Jordan. Barely anybody ever did that, so that's insane itself. And someone who you might think is insane for their jump shot is Shawn Marion, because he has one of the ugliest jump shots anybody's ever seen. But back then, he was underrated, and they called Shawn Marion the Matrix for his ability to do just about everything on the court. In the 2000s, he quietly stuffed the stat sheets while playing with elite defense, yet he rarely got the spotlight he deserved. If you need someone to guard the opponent's best scorer, he would do it. If you need 20 points and 10 rebounds, he would do that too, often in the same game. From 2000 to 08 in Phoenix, Marion averaged roughly 19 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1.5 blocks per game, while shooting over 50%. That's pretty efficient if you ask me. He was a 4-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA selection. Marion was arguably the best jack-of-all-trades forward of his era. He could finish fast breaks with his funky form dunks, hit the occasional odd-looking 3, and wreak havoc with his quick hands on defense. Later in 2011, he became a crucial championship piece for Dallas, guarding stars like Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James in one playoff run and holding his own. Yet, despite all that, his star was never as bright in the national media. Perhaps it was his ugly jump shot or the fact that he was overshadowed on his own team. But in Phoenix, fans appreciated him, but outside of Phoenix, he was often that athletic guy with weird form person. He's still not in the Hall of Fame as of 2025, which feels pretty criminal given his accomplishments, but Marion's case shows how a low-profile personality and doing 100 little things well can lead to being unappreciated. Because Steve Nash is unquestionably one of the most skilled playmakers basketball has ever seen. His back-to-back MVP awards of 2005 and 6 cemented him as the face of the 7 seconds or less. Phoenix Suns, an offense that revolutionized the game. Nash's court vision and shooting. He was near the 50-40-90 percentages every year, which were brilliant. So how could a 2-time MVP be considered overrated? For all Nash's individual accolades, critics point out the lack of NBA Finals appearances or championships on his resume. Let's put it this way, Nash's Suns had stacked talent and great regular seasons, yet every postseason something fell short. Sometimes it was unlucky suspensions or injuries, but other times those teams just got outplayed by squads with dominant superstars. Nash's style made everyone around him better offensively, but his own scoring aggression was low and his defense was a known weakness opponents targeted. He never made an NBA Finals, which is rare for a multi-MVP. Most others in that club have rings or at least a finals trip, and while Nash unquestionably changed the game, it's fair to ask if the MVP hype was partly narrative driven. Because when he won the MVP in 2005, he averaged only 15.5 points, 11.5 assists, and 3 rebounds per game. And in 2006, he only averaged 19 points, compared to other players averaging over 28 points per game. That's just insane in my opinion, which is why he's overrated. Now that you get my reason for him being overrated, you might understand my reason for Ben Wallace being underrated. Because Ben Wallace's career is the ultimate underdog story. He was undrafted, he was undersized for a center at 6'9", and he was absolutely unstoppable as a defensive force. Ben was the backbone of the same Detroit Pistons team Chauncey Billups led, which was a squad that shocked the star-studded Lakers in the 2004 finals, and Wallace racked up 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, which is insane because that's tied for the most of all time. But in a league obsessed with scoring, Wallace proved that you can dominate a game without scoring at all. He twice had 20 rebound, 10 block playoff performances that completely swung games. Yet because he wasn't posterizing people or dropping 30 points, many fans outside Detroit didn't realize how valuable he was. Even today, when talking about great bigs of the 2000s, names like Shaq, Duncan, Garnett come up immediately, while Ben Wallace's name might only surface as an afterthought, if at all. Ben Wallace is often called one of the greatest undrafted players ever, still because his game was blue collar and he never chased stats. He remained chronically underappreciated, and the man would put up 0 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 blocks and completely control the outcome, which is honestly insane in my opinion. But someone else who would also completely control the outcome of their shot is Carmelo Anthony. And he's overrated in my opinion because at one point, Carmelo was considered the heir to the scoring throne, a college champion turned 10-time NBA All-Star who could drop 30 points in his sleep. Carmelo's arsenal of jab steps, silky jumpers, and volleyball in the post was a thing of beauty. He won a scoring title in 2013 and sits among the top 10 all-time in points scored. But here's the real reason why. For all his scoring talent, Carmelo never met a shot that he didn't like, or a pass that he did. Carmelo's reputation as a superstar perhaps exceeded his ability to elevate a team. He was often mentioned in the same breath as LeBron, Wade, and other 2003 draftees, yet his impact on winning was comparatively small. Let's not forget, Detroit famously passed on Melo with the number 2 pick in 2003, and that Pistons team won a title that very season with players like Ben Wallace and Chauncey Billups instead. Would adding Carmelo have actually made them worse? It's possible because Melo's style back then might have disrupted their chemistry. That's the bad thing about Carmelo. He's a prolific scorer, yes, but perhaps not as valuable as raw points suggest. He drew in fans with electrifying scoring. Remember his 33.1 quarter or the Garden record 62-point game? But in between those highlights were seasons of first-round playoff exits. Now, to Melo's credit, he adapted later in his career into more of a catch-and-shoot role player and added some longevity to his resume. But during his prime, he was often viewed as a franchise savior when in reality, teams with Melo as a number 1 option struggled to advance in the postseason. But someone who also struggled, especially as an underrated player, is Mike Conley. He's the hand that every team wants. And for years, Mike Conley Jr. was the NBA's best kept secret at point guard. As the floor general of the Memphis Grizzlies, Conley did nothing but win games, make teammates better, and exemplify sportsmanship, yet he toiled without an all-star nod for over a decade. But how much under the radar was Conley? He became the Grizzlies' all-time leading scorer and led them to 7 straight playoff appearances, but never once made an all-star team until his 14th season. In fact, Conley finally got named an all-star in 2021, setting a record as the first player ever to get his first all-star nod so late in a career. It wasn't that he suddenly got good, it's that he had been good all along. He was just overlooked in a loaded Western Conference of point guards. Conley's numbers were solid and if not spectacular, around 17 points, 7 assists, and 2 steals per game, but stats don't capture his impact. He was a crazy defender, guarding people like Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Westbrook, and holding his own. A calming playmaker who rarely turned the ball over, and a clutch decision maker for Memphis. So it really shows why he was underrated. I mean, he hadn't been an all-star for over 14 seasons. That's just insane to me. But someone who even less than 14 seasons fell off is Russell Westbrook. Westbrook's name might as well be Mr. Triple-Double, but that was a long time ago. He did what was once thought impossible, averaging a triple-double for an entire season, not just once, but 3 straight years, from 2017 to 2019. He's the NBA all-time leader in triple-doubles, passing Oscar Robertson. And that 2017 MVP season, when he went on a one-man revenge tour after Kevin Durant left OKC, was the stuff of legend. So how can the triple-double king be on the overrated side of things? It comes down to the difference between stats and impact. Westbrook's counting stats are video game absurd. 30 points, 15 assists, and 15 rebound nights were almost routine in that stretch, but the efficiency and decision making in those numbers have long been gone. And when you talk about someone underrated, you can't skip Jimmy Butler. He's the playoff superstar that nobody talks about, because Jimmy Butler has a habit of proving people wrong. Coming out of junior college and being the last pick of the first round in 2011, nobody pegged him as a future NBA superstar. Even FaZe Rug and Wallace just went to his house, and they know that he's a true superstar. Shout out FaZe Rug, you're the only person I watch when I'm eating lunch. But let's get back to the topic, because you rarely see Jimmy on those top 5 players lists, and sometimes not even top 10 or 15. But once the postseason lights shine, playoff Jimmy emerges, and suddenly everyone's asking, why don't we talk about this guy as one of the best players in the world? In 2020, Butler dragged the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals, going toe-to-toe with LeBron James and even notching a 40-point triple-double in a Finals win. In 2023, he did it again, leading an underdog number 8 seed Heat on a stunning run to the Finals. Taking down supposedly superior teams with his clutch performances, he has logged multiple 40-plus point games in recent playoffs, upping his scoring average from about 21 points per game in the regular season to nearly 28 to 30 points per game in the playoffs. Simply put, when the stakes rise, so does Jimmy Butler's game. So why is Jimmy still underrated? For one, his regular season approach is almost too casual. That itself leads many to underrate him, to think of him as just a second-tier superstar. After all, he's not dropping 30 every night or racking up MVP awards. Yet, come playoff time, he has outperformed MVPs. But honestly, let's just skip him, because you might be getting bored. But someone who won't bore you out of how bad they are is Ben Simmons. Sorry, Ben Simmons, it's okay, you're richer than me, so it doesn't matter. But if you didn't know, once upon a time, Ben Simmons was hailed as the next Magic Johnson or LeBron. A 6'10" point guard with court vision, athleticism, and defensive prowess. The number 1 overall pick in 2016, Simmons entered the league with massive hype and, for a while, seemed to justify it. He won Rookie of the Year, made 3 All-Star teams, and even an All-NBA third team, all by the age of 24. As a 6'10" primary ball handler, he piled up assists and triple doubles, and on defense, he could legitimately guard all 5 positions. He was first team all defense twice and finished runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. Those credentials sound like a budding superstar. So what really went wrong? In short, it was the shot that never was. Simmons' inability and unwillingness to shoot the ball, especially outside the paint, became an elephant in the room that could no longer be ignored when the playoffs arrived. Simmons just really sucked when it came to shooting and didn't score at all. He also passed up open layups against the Hawks, which was pretty embarrassing, and he just gets clowned for that, especially when he missed on an 100-foot wide basketball hoop. That's just embarrassing to the point where it doesn't even matter how good or bad you are. But from Jimmy Butler being overlooked to Steve Nash winning 2 MVPs for no reason, that is the most underrated versus most overrated NBA players. And it's crazy to think about that. But if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, as it means a lot. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. And YouTube thinks you're going to like the video, it's going to pop up, so click on it. Bye, like, subscribe please.